Hey everybody, Sarah here. So today we are going to be doing a book review on another little book. But before we do, I want to give away last month's book, which was this one right here. And I don't even need to draw any names because Matthew was the only one who commented. So Matthew, this amazing little gem is yours. This 1 out of 10, if I could give it a 0 out of 10, I would. Little book is yours. So today we are actually going to be going over another one, very similar, actually twice as thick though. So I mean, if you look at these two together, I mean, it's bigger, but that doesn't mean that it's better. So I will be reviewing this like I do all of them. We have 3 criteria that we judge these on, and that is the ease of understanding from an English speaker's perspective, since all of these books are supposedly written in English. How accurate or good is the actual information in the book, and is it as advertised? If it says that it's the complete guide, or maybe everything you need to know, then we expect it to actually be the complete guide and everything that we need to know. So before I jump into doing that, I do want to thank all of our members on this channel for making everything possible. Unfortunately for the members, I have purchased these books for the review with the member money. All of the member money and any other money, like super thanks money, anything like that, goes straight back into the channel. So if you guys would like to be a member, it's sort of like being a patron on Patreon, but you don't have to go to a different website. You can just do it straight through YouTube by clicking join underneath. It's $2 a month right now. I'm working on a second tier that'll be, I think, $5 a month, but we haven't quite figured everything out with that yet. I will get back to you as soon as we know any more. Also, a quick thank you to Reptilinks for helping to support this channel. If you guys would like to use my code SarahSnake27, it will get you a discount at Reptilinks.com. It is an alternative food source that it is whole ground prey in a collagen casing. I use it for a lot of my corn snakes, especially around breeding time for my females, because they need that extra boost in calories and calcium access. So it's really, really good for breeding females especially, and females that are bouncing back from laying eggs as well. Also, I have a website, sarahsnakeshop.com, where you can find corn snakes and corn snake accessories, including corn snake morph books and merch and other things like that. So if you want to check that out, I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to make this video pretty short and sweet for you guys this time. These little books that you get that are just tiny random little books, they're all available on Amazon and usually printed the same day that they are purchased. So if I go to the back and I look at the printing date, printed September of 2022, which is when I purchased the book, and that's the case with all of these little books. So essentially what I think is going on is people are copying care guides in a different language and then using some sort of AI that's terrible to translate them into English. So we get a lot of really weird wordings and things that don't really make sense. So as far as when it comes to like, is it easy to understand from an English speaker's perspective, it's gonna have to get a 1 out of 10 for that. It is not good. It's not as bad as the last book, but it's almost as bad. There's just more words that don't make sense. Like it's a bigger book, so there's just more stuff that doesn't make sense. So again, 1 out of 10 for that category. Of course, the next is it as advertised? That maybe not necessarily be the next. I'm not really doing these in any particular order. It advertises itself as the complete guide for everything you need to know. If I was going to want to know everything, I would want to know everything, including breeding stuff, where they like to hide in the wild, everything from A to Z and then back through again. And this obviously in this tiny little book is not going to be able to cover all of that, and it certainly doesn't, especially since so much of it is really difficult to understand. They talk about caging requirements and the size requirements for caging, and they don't really do a very good job of that, and they also don't do a very good job of explaining anything really about corn snake stuff, and that's just because of the words that they use don't make sense. They wouldn't make sense to a beginner, and they don't make sense to someone who's been in the hobby like me for over a decade. I've been doing this for 13 years now, I think. So if I can't understand what's going on in here, a beginner is definitely not going to be able to understand what's going on in here. So we're going to have to give it a 1 out of 10 in that category as well. As for the accuracy of the actual information in the book, it's not terrible if you can like figure out what it's trying to say. It's hard to tell what it's trying to say. It really is difficult to tell what it's trying to say. But if you can go through each thing and fight through it, the information that is given is mostly correct. I can't really fault too much of the actual information for being incorrect. It's just really hard to understand what they're trying to say. I'm not really sure. So here's even just a section that I'll read really quick that I believe is about temperature. It says, to ensure that the warmth tangle remains the right temperature, it is constrained by a straightforward on-off indoor regulator set at 80 oof. 8 oof. Right there. You can see 8 oof. So I know that maybe that's supposed to be 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's just so poorly written, it's really hard to tell. So it's not that 80 degrees Fahrenheit is incorrect, it's that this is impossible to read. So the information, like I said, if you can suck the little tiny bit of information out of it that it actually gives, the information itself is not bad. I'm going to give that a 3 out of 10. No, you know what? I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because the information isn't bad. It's just really hard to tell what it's trying to say. So it's kind of hard to give it a score, but we'll go ahead and do a 4 out of 10 for that because the information itself isn't all terrible. It's not that the information is like wrong. It's not that it's telling you wrong things. It's that you just can't hardly understand what is being said. And for those of you who are bad at math, which I'm, one of those people, the score ends up being a 2 out of 10 on average. So it does get 1 point better than the last book, but it's still not one that I would recommend. Again, it's not that the information is terrible, it's that it's so difficult to understand that you're not even hardly going to be able to get the information out of it. So I would say no on this. But if anybody would like this book, please comment down below and I will send it to you free of charge as long as you're in the United States. If you're outside the United States, I may just ask you to pay for shipping. It's probably not worth the shipping money. So if your name is drawn and you do not want the book, I will either pass it on to the next person or you can request something that you would like to be done with this book. It can be pretty much anything that's appropriate. I'm not going to be hosting a book burning, but I can turn the pages into some sort of art for you and send it. I'm happy to do something like that. I love to paint. I love to draw. I love to do whatever. So if you want something like that, I'm happy to do that, something like that for you. Same thing with any of these other little books. We actually have 2 more of these weird little books to go. So unfortunately, for the next 2 months, that's what we're going to be doing. If you guys have any books that I have not yet reviewed that you would like me to review, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know. I'm always looking for books that can be reviewed that I have not heard of before. Please make sure that they are at minimum corn snake related. I'm not going to be doing any books on like ball pythons or garter snakes or boa constrictors or anything like that. If it's a general snake book that includes corn snake information, I am open to doing those though. So thank you guys so much for watching this somewhat short video. I hope that you enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Please subscribe.